Caver goat.
Hello, fellow YouTubers. Thank you for joining today. Today is kind of a different day. We were going to go caving today and make a video on the first wild cave that I'd ever visited when I was 14 years old. But we have a nice storm moving in, so we decided to make a video on caving gear today. And I just want everybody to know, there's really no one way to do your caving gear. Everybody tweaks it however they want to, but this is something that I do personally. I'm also going to show you how to make some of your caving gear and save yourself a lot of money, like cave packs. A good Swaco cave pack today is at least 150 bucks, and I can show you how to make one for less than 10 bucks. And so just using some recycling material. And but anyway, let's start off with a caving helmet. Now, this is the caving helmet that I normally wear when I go caving. This is my favorite helmet. It's a Petzl Ekrin rock helmet. I think this is a second or third generation helmet. But over here, I have the first generation. This was actually my first real caving helmet that I ever bought in my entire life. Before I had this, I used a construction helmet, and I just bought a construction helmet at a yard sale and cut the bill of the helmet off. That didn't do you any good, because when you're crawling in a passageway, you can't see where you're going because the bill is right in your face. So cut that off and put a chin strap on it, and that's what I caved with for a little while. And that's what we call a bump helmet. Okay, you wouldn't want to rappel into a cave or anything like that using that type of helmet. But this is the first generation Petzl Ekrin rock helmet. It has what's called a 4-point chin strap. It is a climbing helmet, kind of converted over to a caving helmet. And you can see that I put some brackets here to kind of help hold the band for the headlamp, to keep the headlamp from coming off the helmet. Here on the front, I have what's called an L1 bracket. Back when I used to carbide cave, again, I forgot to bring my carbide light home from storage, but you can mount a light on the front of this, an old carbide light. If you saw our first video, Adam's Cave, we talked about carbide lamps and carbide dumps and that. But this helmet is so old that there's no way I would go rappelling into a pit or anything like that with this helmet. You can see where it's starting to bust here on the corners. I think everybody can probably see that, even here on the front. But occasionally, in a pinch, I'll use this as a bump helmet. But I've retired this from a vertical helmet. And you can see all the scratches and stuff in it. And it's always important to wear a helmet when you go caving. Each one of these scratches that you see on this helmet would have been a scar on my head. And so always wear some kind of helmet when you go caving. Now, like I said, this is what I use today. Normally, I have 3 sources of light on my helmet. This is my primary light here. Black Diamond. I really like Black Diamond lights. All right, guys. They don't give me any money. As far as the lights are concerned, I normally have 2 lights on my helmet at all times when I'm caving. And then I normally have a light around my neck. And the reason I do that, say I lay my helmet down over to the side when I stop to have lunch or something like that. And we're kind of, just chilling, sitting in total darkness. Well, if you've got a light around your neck on a lanyard, then that can give you a little bit of light always within your reach. And that way you do have an extra light source that's not, connected to your helmet. I know some guys that only, you're always supposed to have at least 3 sources of light with you. I usually take 4 or 5. But a lot of guys go real minimal, and they'll wear all 3 sources on their helmet. And that's just the problem I see with that. I always like to have one light just really close to me that I can turn on and look in my cave pack or something of that nature. So this helmet here is pretty old. Like I said, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd generation Petzl helmet. Petzl helmets has always worked really good for me, and I also use Black Diamond helmets like this one here. It's a little bit lighter weight. That's a half dome helmet. I like a helmet with a lot of ventilation. Just because I'm fat and I get overheated when I cave. And so if you're meaty like me, you'll definitely want something with, you know, a lot of holes in it for ventilation.
All right, guys.
Again, as you can see, this helmet here has a 4-point chin strap also that will securely, secure that to your head even if you were to fall. So this is a vertical helmet. You know, this is something you could rappel into a cave, or this is real serious caving gear here. But you can do a bump helmet. There's a lot of wild caves you can go into and not have to do any vertical work. You know, they're just crawling in mud and water and walking and things like that. There may be some slopes that you have to slide down, and that's all okay for a bump helmet. But this is, you know, true caving helmet here that that you could, you know, like I said, rappel into a cave. And now, if you can see this, hopefully you can. Inside my webbing in my helmet, back in the, I know at least in the 1980s, this was always real popular for cavers to do, and cavers have gotten kind of away from it. I wish they would go back to it. This is just a trash bag, and most cavers back then would always put it in the webbing of their helmet, and you can use that in case you're getting hyperthermic. You can take a trash bag and the bottom of it, cut a hole in it to where you can put your head through it. You drape it over your body. You set Indian style. You light a candle. You put it between your legs, setting Indian style, and you're trapping heat to keep your core warm. Like if you're hyperthermic, you're going downhill. And plus, you can use it to pick up trash in the cave. You know, a lot of caves you go to, there's going to be trash or things like that. I've even used it too to lay it out for like a tablecloth, you know, if I'm going to be eating or something like that. A lot of the stuff that we eat in caves is actually poison to the animals. So it's real important to, you know, kind of police around yourself as you're eating and stuff and try to be nice and neat about things. But I can't tell you how many times I've used a trash bag in a cave for different reasons. But mostly for hyperthermic. And so most cavers, old cavers like me, that's what they would always do, is put a trash bag in there like that. So let's see. Let's talk about this. Now, I mentioned earlier a bump helmet could just be a construction helmet. And with a, you know, add a chin strap to it, cut the bill of it off. That way when you're crawling, you can kind of see where you're going when you're crawling. But one of my favorite things to use for a bump helmet is a bicycle helmet. And it has a 4-point chin strap, okay, just like a rappelling, you know, caving helmet. But I wouldn't use it for rappelling, okay? This is just a bump helmet. Just because it's got a 4-point chin strap, it's not strong enough to really provide you much protection rappelling into a cave. But we're going to talk about mounting a light to this. It's pretty easy. And every bump helmet, now this is actually a child's helmet. I'm going to rig this up for my, how old is Isaac? 7. For my 7-year-old. And I had an extra caving helmet. I had enough helmets for all the kids. And here recently, a young man that's really inspired me. He's really energetic about caving and didn't have a lot of money, so I gave him one of my Good Petzl helmets. So I'm down a helmet right now. And I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to kind of show you what we do. Hopefully you can see this. It's going to be really hard to see, hopefully. This has a styrofoam insert in here that's glued in. And on the back side of where these holes are, I took a knife and I cut a little bit of that styrofoam lining out of it, okay? So that's really the only thing I've done that's not being filmed. Everything else will be filmed. So I have a cheap headlamp here, and, you know, the children, sometimes we'll just, you know, put cheaper lights and stuff on them because a lot of times they don't go really hardcore caving like we do. Let's see how hard this is to get this out of here. And there we go. And there's one more. So you can take this off. And basically what I'm going to do is where you see these inserts here, I'm going to take a zip tie, basically. Where's my thickest ones? Wish I had a little bit thicker one, but I think this will work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to run this through here, and we're going to mount this helmet through those holes. And I'll probably get back with you when we kind of start running that through there, and you'll see that it holds it up pretty good. And this will be a great little helmet for him. It gives him quite a bit of protection as far as the back of it, him hitting his head on something. Like if he was to fall backward walking in the cave, this would actually give him a little bit of support back here in the back. Again, it doesn't have a visor, so you don't have to worry about that. You know, if he was crawling, he could still see in front of him and not have that. It's adjustable back here in the back. They're lightweight. They float, and that's what's good too. They actually float in caves. Like if he's doing a water crawl with me, he can actually lay his helmet down like this and push it out in front of him as he's crawling through the water. So we'll be back with you in just a second, and I'll get her kind of wired. All right, guys. Now, hopefully you can see this. I ran one of these wire ties. Let's see if I can get one out. I ran one of these wire ties, or zip ties, some people call them, through this hole and then back around. And I made sure that it's sitting in the groove that I cut out of the styrofoam, because if you don't cut that groove out of that styrofoam, that inside lining, it will this will rub on his head, and that'll be very uncomfortable for him. So just make you a solid line across there, a groove big enough for one of these wire ties to fit. And then I just kind of ran it through the bracket, and then I'm just gonna keep tightening it up like that, like so. And there we go. And I'll cut the wild end off here in just a second, but there we go. And that won't hardly come off at all. It's pretty secure, and I always carry a couple of zip ties with me in my caving pack anyway if something does happen. But that's real secure. That'll give him a nice headlamp that he can tilt and everything in the cave. Like I said, I'll just cut that off. Where's my, there they are. So just reach in there and get that off just like that. And looks pretty good. Probably don't want to blind the camera. But that'll make him a perfect helmet with a mounted headlamp on it. And sometimes there's holes here in the side, and you can mount, you know, like a light on the side like this. Say if this was a light, you could mount it on the side. Or you could put some little brackets on the back of the helmet and the front of the helmet. And also just use the regular webbing that goes on it if you wanted to do it that way. But this is something I like to do for him. I've made these before. It seems to always work better just to mount this on here than have to worry about the webbing, because this is a pretty big dome here, and the webbing will just try to slide off if you don't have some kind of brackets to hold the webbing down that would normally go on this headlamp, kind of like this. And but anyway, it's pretty good for a child, even an adult. You can use a bicycle helmet for an adult. But again, I want to stress, it's just a bump helmet, okay? Horizontal caving, you know, don't drop any, even a 12-foot pit, I wouldn't use this on. I would use a regular caving helmet if you were going to do that. So that's a lot cheaper than buying a, you know, $85 helmet. And you can pick these bicycle helmets up at garage sales for $1 sometimes. So if you're out caving on a budget, this works just fine. When you first start caving, I would suggest not doing vertical caving. I would just do some horizontal caving and get yourself used to the environment in the cave, and then work your way up to vertical caving. So this will work out really good for my 7-year-old son. My 7-year-old son does go rappelling with us, and I sure wouldn't want him repelling with that. So, all right, let's talk about knee pads real quick. And now, there's all kinds of knee pads on the market. When I go caving, I like a lot of armor. Okay, the older I get, the more armor I use, and I think I mentioned that in one of my videos. When I first started caving at the age of 14, I'm 51 now, by the way. I thought wimps wore knee pads, and the older I get, the more armor I need. Now, these are homemade. These are made from actually a manufacturer that's no longer in business, and it doesn't have any buckles or anything. It just has some really thick elastic on the back of it. So you have to take your boot off to even put these on. That's kind of a pain sometimes. It does have its advantages sometimes. Most newer style knee pads have a buckle here, which is fine. But I've been in caves before where it's so muddy that if you unbuckle your pad, it's hard to get them to buckle back up. You may have to dig some mud and stuff out. So, and these basically just sit right on top of your boot. And so you have a shin pad and a knee pad. And they put some ballistic nylon over the top of this. And if you find a pad like this, then you can kind of use that as a pattern and make your own. These are some homemade pads. An old caving buddy of mine that's actually passed on. He made these, and he put double padding in it, which is a lot better than the manufactured ones. He also lined it with something that cavers do all the time. Hand me that real quick. A lot of times we use shoe goo, and cavers do that a lot. Like this part of your knee pad takes a lot of abuse. Okay, a lot of caves you go to, especially here in the Ozarks, you're on your knees more than you are your feet. Okay, back when I used to conduct wild cave tours at a federal commercial cave here in Arkansas, we used to tell people you will climb, crawl, and claw your way through the cave, and they always thought that was a joke. And then when they went caving with us, they realized that was no joke. I mean, literally, you are crawling and clawing your way through the cave. So this part here takes a lot of abuse. And this is the part that always wears out. So what cavers will do a lot of times is we'll take shoe goo and we'll smear that all over the pad. And that just gives you an extra protection, from this being worn out here. This shoe goo, you can pick it up anywhere. Walmart has it. Other places have it. Usually pads have a double lining here because you use your knee pads a lot, like, especially if you're climbing up domes. You're not just crawling sometimes. A lot of times you're using your knees and you're climbing up domes and things like that. So, these take a lot of abuse. So, like I said, you make your own. And I've seen people that are really good with a good sewing machine make their own pads. And, these pads here are probably 10 years old, I'm guessing, and the elastic's a little worn out, but that's fine. They still hold in place. All right, guys. Sorry about the telephone ring. We had to stop for a second. So anyway, we finished up talking about knee pads. You can also use volleyball knee pads. They're really bad, though, to bite in the back of your leg. There's not really a long enough of a pad for you. But if that's all you have, you can take some shoe goo and smear over the volleyball knee pad, and that'll work. I normally don't cave with hard pads just because they will mar cave formations. That black plastic cup that's over the knee. I usually don't like those or anything rubber because it will leave marks on cave formations if you're trying to climb a flowstone or something like that. You always try to think of the least amount of impact to the cave when you're out wild caving. Always real important. I guess since this is laying here, we'll talk about it. Phoenix. I love Phoenix lights. They don't give me any money to say that, of course, but I've had really good luck out of these. There's other lights on the market out there. Years ago when I first started caving, everybody had the wheat lamps. It was a lead acid battery on your hip with a cord. It had a headlamp or carbide lights, or Just Right made a really nice light. Then everybody went to Petzl, and there's just a lot of neat companies out there. And just do your research, Amazon, eBay, or any local caving store. But Phoenix, I would give them a good shout out. I've not had any issues with them. I do know of one caver that had an issue with a Phoenix light, and he returned the light. And no questions asked, I gave him a brand new light. So anyway, I would definitely suggest Phoenix lights. Let's talk about cave packs. Now, there's a lot of good cave packs on the market today. I think most of them are probably overpriced. And that's just a personal, my personal reference to that. I'm sure they're really good. Swago, they make a really good pack. I've talked to several cavers that have them. That's just a lot of dough for me. $150 at least, 180, something like that before tax. So And I'm sure they're worth their weight in gold. But I and I think Petzl has some really good packs out there. But I've learned through the years. Well, first of all, let me back up just a little bit. If you ever decide to go to a cave convention, like every year, cavers, they have conventions all over the country. There's regional cavers conventions. I know here in the Ozarks, they have Mississippi Valley Ozark Regional Cavers Convention. They have Ozark Regional Cavers Convention. They have, of course, the National Speleological has a big convention every year. But never show up to a cave convention with brand new gear, okay? Because people are going to look at you like you're a novice caver. Always go cave, or take your gear caving a few times before you go to a cave convention. I remember when I bought this helmet here back in the mid 1980s, mid to late 80s. I was getting ready to go to a Ozark Regional Cavers Convention, and I just got in this brand new helmet. And I remember an old caving buddy of mine telling me, do not show up at the cave convention with a brand new helmet. So what I did is I just kind of drug it down the gravel road a little bit behind me as I walked to make sure it had a bunch of scratches on it. But anyway, it's kind of funny. So don't go to cave conventions with good new caving gear. Make sure you go with some scratches on your gear. This pack here has probably seen... man, I'm guessing at least 200 or 300 miles of cave. This pack here, it's a Lost Creek pack. I don't think they're even in business anymore, but it made out of ballistic nylon. Had a hole in the bottom here that water would drain out, so I could put all my stuff in a small dry bag or triple Ziploc bag it, however you want to do it. And it would fit really good in this. Part of the buckles are missing. It had a strap over here, and so you could, use it as a backpack. You could use it as a side pack. You could even use it as more of a fanny pack. One thing I did like about it is this, and I've retired this. This is something my kids use for a cave pack now. But I really always like this here in the middle. Like say if I'm rappelling into a cave, you don't want a real heavy bag on your back. It's always best to just kind of drape that down between your legs with a lanyard or something. And that kind of keeps you center point of gravity. So I always enjoyed that. It's been a good pack. I wish they were still in business because I would highly recommend them. But I'm pretty sure Lost Creek no longer makes bags anymore. So that brings us to this. Okay, cavers are good recyclers. I'm going to show you guys how to make what's called a pig. It's a cave pack. And the problem with a pack like this, move this over here where the light's not quite as dark. This collects mud on the outside. Okay, any pack that's made out of ballistic nylon, mud just sticks to it. Okay, and this pack here, I've seen this pack this big around with mud. And you're just taking layers of it off, as you're going through some of the real muddy caves here in the Ozarks. And one time I was actually, dropping down climbing down into this shallow pit. And I had laid my pack up on the edge of this pit that I was free climbing down into. It was only like a 6 foot deep pit. But I thought it was a nice rock sitting there, and I grabbed it thinking that it was a nice heavy rock, but it was actually my cave pack completely coated with mud, and I forgot I had laid it up there at the top of the ledge. And but now this, these jugs, these mud won't stick to these, okay? It's, and the same thing with the Swago bags. They're kind of a rubberized PVC type bag. And, mud won't stick to it. And now, I'm not 100% sure. I was always told that an Ozark caver from Missouri came up with this device called a pig that I'm getting ready to build for you guys. And it's just 2 1-gallon antifreeze jugs. You can even use round jugs that... like for windshield washer fluid or something like that. Of course, you'll want to rinse those out really good. But basically, mud doesn't stick to it. It's cheap. It's virtually indestructible. And it's called a pig. Now, sometimes cavers on overnight trips, they'll even use like 5-gallon plastic gas jugs, brand new gas jugs that they'll cut the bottoms out of each jug and you slide it into each other. That's what I'm getting ready to do here. I'm going to cut the bottom out of these, and that way they'll slide into each other, and we'll show you that here just real soon. Another version of the pig, on really, really tough, long, like overnight caving trips, or say you're setting up a base camp in a cave because you're doing, several days of mapping. There's one cave I know they've used this in. It's called a snake, and it's basically the black irrigation pipe that's flexible that you see, and they'll clog that up with something and hook it to a rope. And if you're in a long passageway, this snake is full of caving gear, and you can actually pull it, and it'll just kind of snake its way, behind you. You can pull it through, and that's just kind of real, extreme caving there. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the bottoms of these jugs out, and we'll get right back to you, okay? All right. So, guys, what I'm doing is, you can use a pair of scissors or anything like that. I just chose to use a box cutter knife. It doesn't have to be that pretty. I've never seen a pig that's pretty, right? So, it doesn't have to be that pretty. It's not a fashion contest or anything. So, all right, so I've cut both bottoms of these jugs out, and what you do is you never want to just put your caving stuff loose in these. Okay, what we'll do is you can actually slide them into each other, and usually the first time you do this, it's always kind of tough, but these will slide into each other like this, and this gives you a great cave pack. Okay, so if your stuff is loose in here and you pull this out, then all your stuff's going to be flying all over the cave. So you always want to get like a 1-gallon dry bag, or several 1-gallon Ziploc bags to put your stuff in. You can actually get a 1-gallon Ziploc bag and a quart Ziploc bag of stuff in here. Like if you want to carry your batteries in a Ziploc bag, you can, and then your extra gear, webbing, multi-tool, or whatever you want to use caving, your snacks, just how, that's your own personal preference. So, but anyway, these slide in. Actually, I did it backward. These slide into each other just like this, okay? And that gives you some handles. Now, what's cool about a pig, let's say you're going on a big trip. You can slide these out to about here, and you can get all the way out to there if you wanted to, okay? And but say you're going on a lot of caves here in the Ozarks, or the Ozarks are not really known for the biggest caves in the country, but they are known to have some of the most beautiful caves in the country. We have a lot of low, wet, muddy crawls and things like that. We're like, if you go out to Tag Country, where Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia meets, totally different caving over there. I mean, they do have some tight stuff, but they have a lot of vertical pits. Here, we do have vertical pits, and 150 feet or something like that. It's a good pit here in the Ozarks, but most of it's just really low, wet, muddy crawls. So a lot of times our caving trips are pretty short, and you can slide this into each other. That's actually a little too far, and that'll get you pretty much anything you need there. Now I'm going to show you how you secure it. There's actually several different ways you can do this, and one is just with a dog leash. Okay, and don't be afraid, don't be too masculine to be afraid to use a pink dog leash, because I found out a long time ago, if you use kind of girly colors, it's just easier to see which pack is yours. And so what you will do is can run this dog leash. Let's see if I can do this. And And then the tail here, since there's not, well, there actually is on this one. That's pretty cool. There's actually enough tail there. Let me show you. Hold on just a second. I got all my vertical gear over here. Hold on just a second. Let me grab the vertical stuff. Hold on just a second. We'll get this. When you've caved as long as I have, you acquire a lot of gear. And over here beside of me, I've got a big tote for all my vertical gear. And it took me a while to find what I was looking for. These are beaners. There's some regular carabiners. There's some D-rings and things like this. I've got a whole bunch of these. But notice, you know, and you can use a big one like this if you wanted to. I probably wouldn't use a screw link. I would probably just use a regular carabiner, something like this. Now, I do have a problem using a good heavy carabiner, and I know there's cavers out there that'll probably differ with me on this, and that's okay. I mean, but time tested and proven, I love these little cheap ones like this, and I'm going to tell you why I like this. If I have this connected onto here, okay, and I did that backward. All right, say I have this on here like this, and I've got, say, a webbing belt around me, and I'm clipping it to my side. If I have a chest harness on, I can actually use some carabiners, and I can connect this to my chest harness. I can also connect webbing and use it as a backpack if I want to. But one of the attachments, somewhere in your attachment, I mean, you can have these big ones if you want these big ones to put in here on each side to make a backpack or whatever. Or a chest harness. You know, like if your hands and knees crawling, really the best place for this thing to be is actually on your chest. Okay, so if you have a chest harness on, you can connect this to your chest harness. A lot of times, wished I would have found that too. Hold on just a second. We'll get back with you again. All right, guys. Sorry about that again. Here, I thought I had everything. And what's cool about a pig too is these little loops like this. These are called, we always called them chicken loops. And you can make these. This goes around your ankle, okay? You build it to where with your boot on, these won't slide off, okay? Or you can make them with a buckle if you want to. But a lot of times cavers will wear these. They'll put these over their foot around their ankle. And then they'll put their boot on, and then the boot, this won't come off. Okay, and that way if you ever get hung up or something, you can take the boot off and get this off or whatever. But with this chicken loop, then you can hook this to your chicken loop, and you can drag this behind you as you're belly crawling through a cave. And that's what makes the pig such a neat tool is, you know, with the chicken loop around your ankle, and this here, that way you can just drag it behind you. And say you get hung up. Now this is where the little beaner comes in. Say this gets hung up. You'll always do it real short. Don't tether it real far behind you. I like to rig mine real short. And that way if it gets hung up on something, I can kick it with my leg and get it unhung usually. Okay, and that's where the round bottles, like the windshield washer fluid bottles, works pretty good for that. I like this style because it lays closer to my chest or backpack. But, you know, again, it's just preference. But that way I can, you know, if it gets hung up, I can kick it loose. Say it gets hung up and I can't reach it. You know, I'm in a really tight passage. I'm all strung out here, you know, and nobody's behind me. A lot of times if it gets hung up, somebody can reach up there and undo it for you. But let's just say it's all hung up. You can't kick it undone. If you have a beaner like this, you can break it. And that's what I like about using this, okay? And I usually carry a couple extra of these with me when I go caving. You know, you can get them at any Dollar Tree or anything like that. They don't last very long, but I mean, it's only $1. But that way, if you have to, you know, most people have enough strength in their legs to break these and release yourself. And that way you're not hung up in the cave. So that's one way to secure your pig, is like this, which is real easy. You know, like say I've stopped, I'm getting ready to eat lunch. I don't even have to undo the strap all the way. I can just undo it part of the way if I want to and get in my pig just a little bit. say I got to get something out real quick, and then it just doesn't take long to lace that back through there. Another thing you can do, now this is just a big long dog leash that you can get at any pet store or Walmart or anything like that. Sorry about all that noise. You can even use a, sorry about that, it's so loud. You can also use a smaller dog leash if you want to, kind of like this. Another thing is what you can do is just make you an adjustable strap if you want to do that. And, you know, that way you can adjust it if you need your pig bigger or whatever. You just run it through the handles, you know, have it just a snap link there that you can just, you know, do that. I like the dog leash just because, you know, these buckles, I've seen these break, okay? And if you don't have an extra buckle, you know, it can cause you some issues trying to tie a water knot or something like that in it. Time tested and proven, these dog leashes like this, they're real strong. They're a real thick webbing. They can take a lot of abuse. So, and what's cool about a pig too, say you get water in this. I mean, it's not a waterproof container. That's what the dry bag serves two purposes. It holds all your stuff together, plus it keeps your stuff dry. But say you get water in this. Well, that's what's really cool about a pig, is as you're walking, say I'm carrying this as a sling pack, and I can loosen this valve right here and let the water drain out of it. I don't even have to take it off. I can just loosen it up a little bit. Say we're mapping a cave or whatever, and we've stopped to talk about whatever, and I notice my pack is a little heavier. I can just reach over, and I do that a lot. Just reach over there and undo the lid there, and it lets the water drain out. So let's see, what else? So that's a lot better than $150, right? Or 180, something like that. So anyway, if you got any questions, be sure and add that in the comments. We appreciate you tuning in. We're going to get you back caving hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how bad this ice storm is. And we won't be doing any lower level caving tomorrow with all the rain this week. We never want to go caving in wet caves, you know, that could flood. So, but the cave we're planning on going to tomorrow does have an upper level that we can stay in. And it was actually the first wild cave I'd ever visited in my life at the age of 14 years old. So thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Please don't forget to subscribe to us and like us. Thank you. Caver Goat.